Hello and welcome to a moment of presence. Today, as we prepare for the holidays, we are going to take a moment to take a break from the cooking, the cleaning, the setting your table, or getting the last work done that you can before you get out of work and go home and start your festivities. So, we're going to take that time together today. And I want to start by saying thank you for being here. This week is all about thanks and gratitude. And what does that even mean? Is it just that empty thank you that we say to anybody and everybody? Is it something that we feel? Do we take time out for it? What is gratitude to you? What is gratitude to me? Is it the same thing? Is it looking up at the sky and just being thankful for being here? One thing is for sure, if gratitude has become just another to do on your to do list or a chore, then it's time for you to reevaluate some things. So, this week, because it is Thanksgiving and it's about family and being thankful, I invited a special guest to join us, and that would be my wonderful daughter, Krista Barone, who agreed to pop
Hello,
in.
hello. Howdy.
And how are you this morning?
I am thankful this morning.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. We have a lot to do
Yes,
in the next 24 hours.
a whole lot of cooking.
How many people are we hosting?
I think it's 10, which is like half of what we're used to. So very doable, but still a lot. But
Still,
fun a lot. I'm thankful for being able to cook and have the cooking gene.
it is fun. It's
Yeah,
fun. And
totally.
and I am grateful that we get to do it.
Absolutely.
So I guess I should introduce myself to everybody now that I've introduced you.
Yeah.
So I'm Michelle Barone with Moksha Grace Coaching, and if you are new to me, I am a life coach, specializing in emotional alchemy for inspired change. I help clients with perspective shifts, accepting life changes, or fighting to create the change that they need in their life. Coaches help their clients with accountability, help them see things in a different way, new perspectives, right? Perspective shifts, and help them really look in the mirror and see themselves. Sometimes for the first time, to really, without all the clutter and gunk in front of them, to really see who they are, past the unworthy, past the feeling of failure, past the sadness, but actually see themselves for who they are and what they bring to the world. So that is what I get to do, and it's something that I'm very passionate about, to help clients just really live their best life within the chaos that life is, which I don't know about you, Krista, but I'm pretty thankful for chaos because
Are you kidding? I wouldn't be who I am without chaos. My entire childhood was chaos.
that is so true in so many ways. Well,
More than
before we get too deep into it, will you join me for a moment of presence?
Of course.
All right. So we all know the drill. We're going to take a big deep breath in. We're going to hold it for 3 seconds, and then we're just going to let out a big exhale, and feel free to, say turkey or cranberries or whatever you want. So big deep breath in, hold it. 3, 2, 1, exhale. How'd that feel?
That felt great. I was a little, you didn't give your disclaimer this time about people who were driving. So hopefully anyone that was driving, you did not just participate in that moment of presence.
Very true. Very true. And if you did, I hope you didn't close your eyes. So, our topic, gratitude. What is gratitude? To me, gratitude is taking a look around and finding the gratefulness, the things, the little things to be thankful for. And I know, Krista, I am a forever optimist and hopeless romantic and glass is always half full type of person. So give me anything and I can find something to be grateful for. How about you? What does gratefulness mean to you?
I think gratefulness for me is, or gratitude is, not only noticing the things that you are thankful for, that you appreciate, but also really feeling those things. I know for me, being more of an analytical mind, I tend to just kind of like go through the checklist of like, oh, I need to be grateful today. What are things I'm grateful for? And I'll, run off a list. But it's important to feel those things and put ourselves in the place of appreciating those things. So I'm not just, I'm
Mhm.
grateful for the sun, but I'm grateful for the warmth of the sun and really feel
Mm,
that. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for the love that my family gives me. So it's
gotcha.
really about feeling the thankfulness of those things.
I was going to ask you, how do you know if it's become, and we've talked about this, where it's
Mhm.
like, "Ah, just another thing to do. We got to write out 10 things to be grateful for." How do you know? What is that, kind of mechanism inside of you that goes, "Oh, I think I need to get in touch with my gratitude just a little bit more."
I think it's when I don't feel it. For me, I feel things very much on my like my skin, and that's maybe a spiritual thing, energy wise. That's where I feel it, and it's usually like
Mhm.
my arms and my shoulders. So normally when I'm thinking of gratitudes, if I'm not feeling it physically, that to me means I need to switch something up and try something different to where
Mhm.
I elicit that feeling in my system, so that I can actually feel and see and be in the moment of those things that I'm grateful for.
Hmm. And do you find that afterwards you have, when you're done counting your blessings, do you feel the difference? And what is that difference? What difference do you think it makes?
Yeah, I think I just go into my day feeling stronger and more
Mhm.
aligned. Counting your blessings and feeling gratitude is a completely underrated tool. And it sounds so simple. And it's funny because when I talk to people about, you know, doing gratitudes in the morning, it sounds sort of cliche and cheesy and corny of like, for me, I like to write it out because I
Mhm.
just connect with writing. And so, telling someone, write out things you're grateful for every morning can feel a little corny and cheesy. But when you do it and you really put yourself in the feeling of feeling those things that you're grateful for,
Mhm.
it helps set you off on the right path for the day. I notice a big if I know, let's say on a Tuesday, I'm writing out things I'm grateful for and I'm like really not feeling it, but I'm like, you know what, let me just push through the day. I'll get through the day. It'll be fine. I just meditated,
Mhm.
so I'm good. But when I change it up the next morning and I'm really feeling the
Mhm.
gratefulness and I look up and just thank the universe for everything that it's given me, I
Yeah.
have an extra pep in my step that day. I
Mhm.
put a little more effort into everything that I do. So it just gives you that extra little notch that just takes you to the next level. For
Yeah.
me.
No, I absolutely agree with you. I remember writing out lists upon list and I got bored with my list because I was
Yeah.
writing the same thing and I was like, oh my gosh, what else can I be thankful for? And I remember I found I think it was like a law of attraction journal and it had different prompts and the prompts were like, why are you thankful for the internet?
Yeah.
Why are you thankful for your TV? And I mean, it sounds so silly, but when you think about it, what is the TV, right? What does television bring into our lives? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
experiences, the things that it, teases us with to then set goals, the family that sits around the TV, like our favorite after Thanksgiving, we always watch
Christmas movie.
a Christmas movie. And so when you think of it that way, it's not just, well, I'm thankful for a big electric box that has pretty colors and sounds that comes out of it. It's a little bit more deeper of what it means to you.
Yeah. And I think that brings up, but like that's where I think we get in a rut with not feeling it as much as we just say the same sort of things every day. And that's what I find myself is like, I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my
Mhm.
dogs. I'm thankful for my house and my job and my paycheck and all these things. And so
Mhm.
that's a great way to change it up is okay. yes, I'm grateful for all those things. Let's change it up today. What am I grateful for about my home? I'm grateful
Mm-hmm.
for my comfy bed and cozy blankets and a roof over my head and safety and security and all these other things. And it just helps, I think, rewire your brain to feel different things and to
Yeah.
experience different things.
Well, I think it was really helpful. I remember I watched like an Abraham Hicks, and I remember them saying, like, if you think you have nothing thankful for, then be thankful for your pillow. Like that you have a
Cool.
pillow, that you have a bed, that you have a roof over your head. I mean, there's so many other things that you can dive into. Another game I like to kind of play, because I like to jazz it up,
Of
is
course.
I think of a moment that I'm thankful for, and then I write down either everything about that moment, like literally write out that memory. And we just finished watching a little movie called The Jumper, and it brings me into that moment, like I jumped into that moment, and I'll be there. And one of my favorites is the first dance at my wedding, and I can bring myself into that moment and all the feelings, and I get little goosebumps, and it was just a magical moment. And so I'll write that down, written it many different times, um, because it brings me into that moment, and then it brings me into the energy of that moment,
Right.
and
Right.
then that impacts the rest of the day.
Absolutely.
So what are some other ways that you feel that you can be thankful, or that you can practice thankfulness?
Well, there's a couple that I go to. One of which that's I think the simplest and easiest, and yet nobody really does it, is literally just taking a second to look up and just say thank you and feel it. It
Mm-hmm.
takes 2 seconds. You don't have to write anything down. You don't have to think of a bunch of things. Just thank you and feel it. I just felt it just then, just because I put myself in that space.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some other things I like to do, because I don't always resonate with the language of like I'm grateful for or I'm thankful for. It can feel like a little corny for me personally, so I'll shift more to like I love
Mm-hmm.
whatever those things are. Um, I also started doing more recently, kind of like what you were just talking about with visualizing the scene in your head and feeling those feelings. And I started switching to like I feel, and
Mm-hmm.
so I'll visualize the things that I'm thankful for, and then kind of take a mental note or a literal note of like what those feelings are. So I feel loved, I feel loving, I feel safe, secure, appreciated,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, um, ecstatic, exhilarated, whatever those things are. And it's that same sort of concept and energy of just getting in that mode and feeling those things, because as you feel them, you're attracting more of that to you. And that's really important to remember, is if
Mm-hmm.
you're not appreciating, you're not going to be attracting more of that into your life. So
Right.
it's such an underrated tool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it literally just takes a second to just think of a couple things, look up and say thank you, whatever your flavor of it is.
Hmm. I think that's a good reminder. And, right now in today's world, with everything going on, there's a lot of people that feel that they've got nothing to be thankful for. There's a lot going on, good, bad, and different. And, you know, those people that maybe they're going to be alone tomorrow, maybe uh, they don't have a family, maybe they've lost people. You know, I think that it's really challenging for them to then shift that perspective and go, yes, and instead of, well, yeah, but this happened, and
Yeah.
it more, yes, and yes, that happened. And what are the lessons? What are you learning? What is this experiencing bringing to you into your life? And it may, and we both know this, it may not look good now. It
Hmm.
may feel really crappy right now.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it is hard. I mean, am someone who tends to have a more negative oriented mind. It's so funny that you're like the Energizer bunny mixed with sunshine, and I tend to be more of like the dark and brooding one, which is hilarious, I think. But I deal with that all the time. Is I'll have little, slumps or whatever you want to call them, and I'll have to remind like, even though it feels corny or it feels stupid or it feels useless, I'm still gonna bring myself through the process of, okay, what can I be grateful for right now?
Mm-hmm.
I have my health, knock on wood. I'm grateful for my family. They're very supportive. The very basics. And if you're not feeling it in that moment, that's okay. That's also okay. You may not feel it in that moment, but get in the habit of doing it, because as you do it, you start to get a little momentum going. You know what? I don't feel quite as low today.
Yeah.
I don't feel quite as bad today. So if you're alone on the holidays, listen, that's rough. There's always something you can find to be grateful for, though.
Mm-hmm.
Are you in a warm home or apartment if you're somewhere cold? Do you have stuff to eat for dinner? There's always something to be grateful for, even if it's the sun rose today,
Mm-hmm.
the moon came out tonight.
Well, and that's exactly what I was going to say, because hey, even if you feel like you have nothing to be grateful for, you woke up today.
Absolutely.
You're here, and there's probably some other people that maybe have transitioned already that might want to be in your place, and want to experience living.
Yeah.
I and we talk about this all the time about, why we're here. Who am I and why am I here? We're
Mm-hmm.
here to experience living. And if living means that it's supposed to be rainbows and unicorns 100% of the time, then are we really learning anything?
Right.
You
Right.
know?
I think the important thing to remember too is, if the holidays can be hard on a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to change that by focusing on the negative. And
Right.
that's something that's really hard to do when you're in a negative spot or a down spot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of the most basic laws of the universe.
Yeah.
You're not going to attract positive by putting out negative. Just like you're not going to attract negative by putting out positive. Yeah, by putting out positive. Make sure I'm saying that right. I mean, that's just one of the basic universal laws. So
Well,
if nothing else, do it for that.
yeah. Well, your brain, your heart believes everything that you're thinking. It
Absolutely.
believes so if you're telling yourself that, you're a loser, your mind is gonna, believe that, and it's gonna bring you experiences that match that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's also the way you respond to things, right? Because it's very easy for me to go, okay, well, that's happening. And look at all of this stuff. And sometimes people do need to just be in the moment, and they just need someone to listen.
Absolutely.
However, right, there's a very delicate line. I was just talking to a client about this yesterday. If let's say a friend is dragging you into their quicksand, you're not going to be able to help them if you're just as deep in the quicksand.
Right.
And so that comes to dysfunctional families and friends and connections
Hey,
and experiences. And that brings us right back to
the
the holiday
holidays.
season and how crazy it can be.
Yeah.
When you get triggered, when you're in this energy up here and someone comes in and they're in that lower energy and they trigger you, um, I know what I do, and I'll share in a moment. What do you do?
Well, why don't you kick us off?
I I think of the things that I'm grateful for about that person or anything around me to get me into that mode. And I can look at, the plates on my table and go, oh my gosh, I am so grateful for those plates. I love the design and the pattern. I love that they're my great grandmother's. I love that I'm setting a table. And so I'll go there and raise my vibration. And I do it pretty quickly because then I have to turn around and respond.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I have that time to do that, and split seconds, then I can think about where that person's at and not try to be, oh, so happy unicorns and rainbows and butterflies, but yes, and thank you for that, or I'll take that into consideration.
Yeah.
That's an interesting perspective. Moving on to our next topic. What are some of your little
That is not a gene that I got from you, because that doesn't work for me like that. My best strategy is just to remove myself from the situation for a few minutes. Once I'm able to diffuse,
right?
I can let it go instantly and move on with my day.
Mhm.
And I started doing that a long time ago. And at first, it's actually funny because the first time you do that, and let's say you're having heated words for someone, or you're personally getting triggered, but they're having the time of their life,
Mhm.
and you physically remove yourself, the people, whoever you're with, they like want to chase it. Wait, where are you going? No, come back. Let's fit. No, give me a second. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Right.
And the first couple of times, people were sort of like, what is her deal? What is her problem? But then I come back in and I'm perfectly great again, and I'm charming and lovely and wonderful, because I just need to take a second and let it just roll off my back. I'm someone with a little bit of a short fuse, so that is what my strategy has to be. I know it's shocking. But that's a strategy that works well for me. Simply removing myself, let it go, and come back.
Right.
And it's a little bit of you have to learn and get into the habit of just letting it roll off your back. The only way that people can get to you is if you let them. And that, again, sounds so corny and so cliche, and we've all heard it a million times, but it really is the truth. You're going to Thanksgiving and your grandmother, aunt, and uncle are the complete opposite, political, religious, spiritual, whatever, the complete opposite side of you. You have that in your head and you go, okay, they're probably going to say things that I don't agree with. All right. And I'm going to let it go. You set that intention ahead of time. And then when that does happen, you're probably still going to get triggered, but you knew it was going to happen. So you go, okay,
yeah,
I'm going to engage. Or I'm going to remove myself for a minute. So you set yourself up for success by being aware of where there could be conflict. That's, at least if you're similar to my personality style, that's what works really well for me, is going into it knowing these things could happen,
right,
because I know they're going to happen. Now I'm not surprised by them, because I think if we go into it going, this Thanksgiving is going to be wonderful, it's going to be amazing, there's going to be no arguing, no one's going to say anything controversial,
yeah, right,
any problems. But that's like a strategy that people believe in, is like setting this like idea up, which to a certain extent I hear you, but to not be aware that things may go wrong, then you're surprised, then you're triggered, then you weren't prepared for it, and now you don't know what to do with it.
yeah,
and now
absolutely.
there's a mashed potatoes flying across the dinner table because someone said something that insulted you.
That has never happened at our house yet. Not
angrily.
really. Right. Not, I mean, yeah, not
Playfully it has.
yeah, I guess. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Kathy from Buffalo joining us. Hey, Kathy, happy Thanksgiving. And Keith, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. And we wish you all of the best for you.
And warmth. It sounds like it might be cold there.
Yes. Lots of warmth for you and that new pup, and all of that goodness that's going on, and so much to be thankful for there. At Thanksgiving, it's always fun, a little tradition of ours is as we do our, we say grace, and as we're eating at some point, and I don't know
I think we forgot last year.
We may have forgotten, but we will go around the room and we will say what we're thankful for. And I was actually thinking this year to put like a question, like a thankful question, like, what are you thankful for that happened last month? Or what are you thankful for in your, just being more specific, but putting the question underneath the plate.
Oh, that's cute.
Right? So that nobody knows what questions are where. Well, maybe except me, but I could probably shuffle them.
We'll put them in a hat or something, shake them up, and then we won't
do that, and then everyone pick one.
Yeah.
So growing up with that tradition, what was that like? To be put on the
My
spot.
go-to was always to try to make everybody cry, but I feel like all that happened was I made myself cry. Most of our anyone who's watching probably doesn't really know a lot about my history. So I'm a
Right, fair.
24-year cancer survivor. So when I was 3, I had cancer, was NED by 4, and knock on wood, I've been amazing and wonderful ever since. But I was always, I had to lay it on real thick about my health and how grateful I am to be here. And, it was, if I could make someone cry, that was a good holiday. But I mean, if you think about it, I was really just making them feel their feelings. So kudos to me for helping people,
Right.
crack open their heart and really feel stuff. So I think I was just ahead of my time.
And there's been a couple times where it's gotten a little sticky. Like
A little.
somebody will say something that we weren't quite expecting, and we're like, ooh, right?
Yeah,
That happens.
it's a really opportune moment to throw in some passive aggressiveness if you want to, under the guise of being thankful for things. If other people would be offended and triggered by them,
Yeah.
and that's where preparing yourself comes in handy.
Yes, thank you for always bringing us back
Of
to
course,
gaming. Because the thing is that we can only be in control or accountable for ourselves. That's it.
absolutely.
And we can't even predestine or pre-plan exactly how we're going to respond. However, we can set the intention that we're going to remain calm, right? That we're going to pre-game. So, I mean,
Well, I almost even feel like setting yourself up for I'm going to remain calm is sort of like putting it out there of like there are things that are going to happen.
That's a really good point.
I like to word it more of like whatever happens, I'm good.
Good, bad, we'll see.
Exactly. I don't set the intention of good or bad, and that's the thing that you have to be careful of. Is
Yeah.
there's a strategy of I can't think of the name of it right now, but kind of like visualizing how you want the day to go.
Segment
You
intending.
don't want to, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic and wonderful tool. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about whatever happens today, exactly like you said, good or bad. I'm good either way. I'm going to let everything go, roll off my back. I'm going to enjoy what I enjoy and let everything else go.
Well, and that goes to my wonderful word that I love, live in harmony. You just ebb and flow with whatever comes your way. And don't let anything shake you because it's just a moment. It's just, I remember Thanksgiving back in the day when I was a kid. And I mean, we're talking yelling, screaming fights. People would not talk to each other for months afterwards sometimes. Talk about dysfunction. I mean, it was bad. I was the black sheep of the family. I mean, it was bad. And I remember I tried to shield you guys from that for a very long time. And I'm not so sure that, that was always the best thing to do because then
I think we got our own share of it.
Well, I was just going to
we did pretty good
because then it came back to get us anyway. We're here to experience whatever we're going to hear. We're supposed to experience. So you can't really shield yourself and be like, I don't want my kids to ever feel this because guess what? They're here to feel and it's going to happen. But if you explain it, sometimes there's arguments, sometimes there's disagreements, and it always says more about the other person than you. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons for me back in the day was learning that no matter what people say, no matter what people do, it's not about me, it's about them. And if they're not being a good human or they're not humaning in a positive way, it's not about me. There's something going on with them. And I think that was really big.
I think my biggest lesson over the holidays thus far has been not everything needs a comment, not everything needs a response. I've learned to really prioritize my own mental well-being because I tend to feel things physically. So if I get very overwhelmed physically if I'm overwhelmed emotionally. So for me, someone saying something that's triggering me or that's whatever, I just literally just kind of like flip a switch in my brain and I'm just like, it's not worth a comment. It's not worth anything. I may agree with them. I may disagree with them. If it's a heated topic, I'm just not getting involved because I just don't need it.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
You know, that reminds me, I remember talking to a client and we had kind of pre-gamed the pregame and what was going to happen. And I remember that she went to her Thanksgiving dinner and it was pleasant, you know, pleasantries, appetizer, you know, the bread, the turkey, and then things started to go south.
Right on.
And she finished her plate of food and like brought her plate to the kitchen and then grabbed her purse and kissed everybody goodbye. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, where are you going?" And she goes, "You know what? I've had my limit today. It's been wonderful. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm so glad I came. See y'all for Christmas, but I'm good." And everybody was stunned, but she stayed in control of herself. She knew what that tipping point was and she said it was so empowering for herself.
Absolutely.
That she did what was best for her and said, "You know what? I've given enough today. I've given enough energy and I'm done and it's time for me to go."
That's awesome. That's incredible. See, that's a perfect example of exactly what to do. And what I like to do is the next time challenge myself to stay around longer. And it forces my nervous system to readjust.
Yeah.
It forces my nervous system to get used to, okay, I'm assuming you are safe. Obviously, this is not stay in a dangerous environment, people.
Right,
Come on.
Right.
But it forces your nervous system to like readjust itself and go, okay, I'm not. It literally has changed so much for me personally because I'm able to withstand those moments and I don't have to leave. And so you start out where you're comfortable with. So you start out with needing to excuse yourself and leave. Fantastic. The next time, stay a little bit longer, then excuse yourself and leave. Stay a little bit longer, stay a little bit longer. And soon you're going to find, at least I have, that you're able to withstand these moments. You feel them. Okay, this is happening. And you just kind of melt into the moment.
Yeah.
And you don't let it bother you anymore. And that is one of the most powerful places that you can end up. When no one else can bother you and make you want to leave a situation, again, assuming you are safe.
Yeah.
It's the power that you get from that. The positive power that you get from that is unmatched.
Yeah, because then you can do and go and be anywhere, but there's nothing comfortable staying in that comfort zone. So I think that flipping the conversation a little bit for those people that notice that somebody gets up from the table and decides to go wash the dishes, or somebody that decides to leave the room and go outside for a walk. I think we need to have a message for them, right?
Like, I have a message.
Don't fall. Go ahead.
Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Let them go.
Give them space.
Let them go.
They'll come back. It's when you pester and
if you let's put it this way, they'll come back in a minute or two, but if you follow them or you keep pestering them, they may not even come back for Christmas or whatever other holiday.
You can always go and say like, "You good?"
No, none of that.
Well, see, that's that positive of me. Like, cool, we good? And then
okay, fine. I'll compromise with you. Do that once.
Okay.
After that, don't keep coming to the window if it's been like 2 more minutes. Don't be like, 2 minutes. Hey, you still good? Leave alone.
I will say a lot of times I will go and that's when I start cleaning up and picking up and doing the dishes. Everyone's getting our little secrets. So when they see us somewhere and we start doing the dishes, they're going to know.
Being the host of an event is the most strategic and rewarding part of a party because it gives you any excuse you want. Oh, you know what? I got to go. I heard something in this other room. Excuse me for a minute. I got to go check what that was. I'll be right back.
I got to do that thing.
You know what? I'm here. Is that the dog? Is that the dog in the other? I'll be right. Let me go check on the dog real quick.
And here, not everyone knows, but here we have a lot that can be distractions.
So
I might have to
goats,
go lock up
chickens.
the animals. I may
Yeah.
have to,
I heard
go
something
get
in the chicken
hay.
gut. What was that? Is that a squirrel stuck? What? Oh, I'll be right back, everybody. Go
Yeah,
ahead and start on the dishes.
yes, exactly. When I was a kid, I remember that there were specific times that I would fall asleep. Like there'd be
Impressive.
craziness going on,
It just
arguments
lulled you
breaking
right to
out,
sleep
whatever,
like a
and I
lullaby.
would just pass out. I would just
Nice.
go to sleep. And then I'd wake up and I'd be like, "Wow, how did I get home?" or "How did we get here?" And it was, "Yeah, you fell asleep," or "We decorated the whole tree
That
without you."
I'm pretty sure that's probably something to do with your nervous system, like
I
protecting
think it
you.
just kind of shut down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Well,
that might be something deeper.
yeah, well, and listen, there are outside things that you can do to distract yourself or numb situations, and we're here to tell you that that doesn't work
No,
because
never does.
you're gonna wake up, you're gonna get clear in the morning, uh, you're gonna have to face reality some way. So don't try to do that and take on bad
Don't down a whole
habits.
bottle of wine. Don't
Yeah,
do it.
yeah, don't do that because then when you do get triggered, you're not going to have that internal power to take that moment and respond or not respond the way that you would want to if you weren't under the influence of something outside of yourself. So, you know, not saying that you can't have
Just use
one
the
glass of
excuse.
wine, but don't go crazy.
Just use the excuse that you gotta go check on the dog, or you heard something weird in the laundry room, or something like that, and then work your way up to, you know what? I just need a minute.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
it. Do what you need to do for you in the beginning, and then as you feel yourself getting stronger, work your way up to setting firmer boundaries.
Yeah. And I think afterwards, that walk to the car, if you're at someone else's house and you're leaving, I think it's important to then not bring
Oh
all
yeah,
of those if there's negative feelings. And listen, some families have wonderful, wonderful holidays and there's no dysfunction. Which I don't
if
know
your
any of these
family has no
people, but
dysfunction at their holidays, comment below.
yeah, let us know where you're living in the North Pole. I mean, even Santa Claus has issues. So,
He's
I
got
mean,
lots of elves to
all
take
of them.
care of. I'm sure
So
there's all sorts of stuff.
don't carry it home with you. Don't carry it into the
Absolutely.
next interaction, whether
Leave
it's
it at the door. Leave it at the car door. If you have to, literally do like a wipe of your, just like what, literally wipe it off of you. You cannot. I cannot emphasize enough how powerful of an exercise that is. Physically, like
wipe yourself.
before you get in your car.
Yeah, yeah. The Greeks have an evil eye. We wear. You can use shungite too, but an evil eye is good. Yeah. Oh, I should bring my shungite inside maybe for us.
I think we have enough inside.
We are going to have a lovely Thanksgiving, and
Yes,
I
we
think
are.
that everyone here has gotten some really good tips. Probably had some good laughs,
Totally.
hopefully, and I really hope that everyone, just takes a moment and pregame. So whatever it is that you're going to do. I mean, we've had Thanksgivings around here where the electricity went off and the turkey's in the oven. We've had a fire truck show up because somebody may have forgotten that the cranberries were on the stove.
I don't know who would have done that.
So, but no matter what happened, the show went on,
Absolutely.
literally. Thanksgiving still happened. Even I think, didn't we have a year where we forgot the oil for the turkey to fry the
Sure
turkey
did.
or something?
Yep.
Yeah. And we used to make Thanksgiving not just for us, but we actually used to deliver Thanksgiving to the hospital where Krista had been treated when she was a kid. We did that for 20 years. So we weren't making just one Thanksgiving meal. No, we decided that we would make.
It was really 2 or 3 because technically
Yeah.
we bought like 2 servings of like 2 extra
Yes.
entire dishes. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
remember when I declared it that everything had to be homemade? It couldn't be
absolutely, that's the way it should be.
store
I
bought.
stand by that to this day.
Yeah.
Anywho, on that note, there's always something to be thankful for. There's
Yes.
always something to be grateful for. Take a moment out of your day, look up at the sky, and say thank you, and feel it. And if any of these strategies and techniques work, let us know in this comment section of this video. Send us a private message, whatever. Let us know what worked for you, because we'd love to hear back from people.
Even if you take a selfie of you outside touching
That
a
too.
tree because you had to take a break, send us the picture, because we
Totally.
want to know, and we're going to be right there with you, sending you love and lots of energy. And it's a perfect time to stop and smell the flowers, look around you, or the snow. Pick up and make a big snowball and just throw it.
That's a
And
good
that
one.
sometimes can really help you get that energy out.
Yeah.
That would be really good.
And then tag us at Moksha Grace Coaching.
Yes, definitely tag us.
YouTube, Facebook,
Send us the
Instagram,
info.
LinkedIn, all of it.
Yes. And if you want more tips like this and you want to really dive into what's going on with your life and make some changes, definitely check me out, mokshagrace.com, and see what we do. See how I really help clients move forward. You know, life is not perfect, but it is perfectly designed for you to expand and grow. And it's just about embracing that. And that's exactly what I help clients do. So mokshagrace.com and / coaching. If you want to book a call, that would be great. I'd love to talk to you about some techniques and some strategic plan for you.
We will change your life. Do it.
Why, thank you, Krista. Thank you for joining me today. It was
Of
definitely
course.
fun. And we might have to do this more often, I think.
Yeah, I think so. But for now, I'll see you in the kitchen in about 10 minutes.
Yes, because I got some work to do. I got stuffing to make. All right. Everybody, happy Thanksgiving. I will see you next week for a moment of presence. And I look forward to it. Remember to not just thank yourself for being here. I thank you for being here. But every day you have a choice on whether it's going to be a good day or not good day. So choose wisely. Bye bye.